Aloha mai kākou e na hoa maka maka o Kulāiwi. Mahalo no ka oko nana ana mai ke ia polo kalamu. Mahalo I oko pakahia pau no ka oko kelepona ana mai ka maili o me au ma ka olelo Hawai'i. Maki wau e mahalo aku I a Kamehameha School, Bishop State. No ka lako malama ana I ke ia polo kalamu no kākou Kulāiwi Hawai'i. No leila, mamua ka ho'omaka ana, pono paha wau e ho'olauna I a uiho I a oko. O wau o Ekelakani Alpi o Crozier, a o wau ke kumu no keia papa o lelo Hawai'i. No leila, I keia kakahiaka, he mele hou ka kākou. You following me? Some of you probably seen it going, too fast, kumu avivi ke la hana hou. Okay, hiki no. He mele hou ka kākou I keia la, oia ho'i ka mele o pane mai. And just so happened, the hakumele of this mele is one of my haumana. And also, I think the roommate of Kalama. And you may remember seeing him before. Other than that, he may seem very familiar to all of you. But he's also my hoapili, and he joins Kulāiwi Kona and I this morning. Kalamai, not morning, pau kakahiaka. But he joins us today for Kulāiwi to share one of his mele oia ho'i pane mai. Aloha mai.
Aloha e kela.
Ai. Mai kai. Aloha e Kulāiwi.
Aloha.
E hea oi.
Mai
kai. Wa keia la he la ano kolohe keia. Ai. Ua pau ke la va serious law. Ai.
Mai kai, hau'oli
ai, mahalo. Because, you know, ua hana maua o Kulāiwi ina mele o e nā Hawai'i, he punahele, e ku'ututu, he Hawai'i au, you know, kua o loa ke la mau mele. So keia la ano le ale ano, hau'oli wau. Ai. No leila pehea oi.
O wau?
Ai.
Oh.
O oi.
Mai ka ino wau. Mākaukau no wau no keia la ke kahi. No keia manawa lea.
Yeah. Hau'oli wau.
Mahalo no ke ko kalamai au. Kono ana mai au.
Hiki no. Wa maki wau mahalo nui a oi.
Oh.
No, ka mea, ike wau he kanaka paahana no oi.
Ike kahi mau manawa. Ai keia la. Hiki o ke hele mai maane I me olua.
Well, mahalo nui. No ka mea, pono no kako a pau Kulāiwi e kako o ina mea Hawai'i. Ai, oia ho'i ka olelo. Ka makana o ko kako po e kupuna.
Oia.
Ai. Maka olelo hale paha, hiki ke maupopo I ke anaina.
Hiki no.
So, let's talk a little bit about just your experience in hakumele and how that's been. And
well, you know, I would have to say that like everyone thinks that these things just happen real quick, well, like it's nothing, and you immediately start writing an award-winning hoku nominated song, you know.
Right.
But that's not true. It starts off slowly with it's like taking language, you know. The most important thing is to take that first step and to try. And in the case of this particular song that we're going to do today, Pane Mai, it is done in a very simple kind of Hawaiian way because, you know, I was just starting my language classes at the university. This is back in the 1800s.
And, those days when they was pulling women by their lower.
Yeah, and some of us did. But anyway, yeah, so, but, you know, you have to start somewhere, and I think that Pane Mai for me was a really nice beginning, and it's helped lead me to where I am today. So I guess what I'm trying to say is for people who are looking for any kind of inspiration as far as being a songwriter is concerned, you just have to basically start. You know, mai hila hila, don't be shy, don't be ashamed, just make the attempt.
Ho'omaka.
Aye.
You know, sometimes people will ask, you know, well, what kind of things inspire you to write, you know? And there's all kinds of things.
Oh, yeah.
And we had Kaipo Hale on, like you don't know who Kaipo Hale is, but we had him on the other day, and
I can't imagine what inspired him to write a song.
Paoa, you know,
yeah,
and
Paoa. He loves his Paoa.
Kulāiwi.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful. It was just so beautiful because it was the words that he used, and we were just taken into Paoa Valley, and we experienced the ulu vehi vehi. You know your name is a really good word to use in Mele.
I tell you.
You know, but
and I want to mahalo all my friends who write songs because I love that they put me in their songs
Yeah,
every
yeah,
time
because
they
they're always
mention
thinking of you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
just
think
like that.
mahalo nui.
But it was so beautiful because through his mele, we were able to take a real trip through Paoa Valley and actually check out Avapuhi o Nauna, and it was so funny because that day I had my Avapuhi in my hair and something was just taking me on the trail. So like today, I'm on the trail of Pikake and I want to mahalo you for my lei.
I tell you,
Mahalo nui.
what a trail to be on. Consider me a friend on your trail.
Oh, you're so deep. And that's the other thing, yeah, that so often people think when you write music, you have to be real deep and you always have to have kauna. And that's not always true.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
That's interesting too because, we studying songs that were written from before, even if we're talking like a year or two ago, it's so easy to make up deep meanings to songs that really don't have it. Everybody thinks, oh God, this has to mean this, or there must have been some kind of a love thing going on here. It isn't always necessarily.
And all it was about flowers. And
yeah, it really
leaves.
was.
Yeah.
It really was that ginger blossom. And then all of a sudden, Kulāiwi was like, oh, it must have been that beautiful girl. You remember she was dancing that time at Mary Monarch? It's like, no, I don't think so.
Fully. But I find that happens a lot in my Hawaiian language classes, where people want to get mana'o out of something. And really, there isn't any. And I say this in every Kulāiwi that the kauna of the mele that we're talking about for the day is really left to the hakumele, and that if anybody is interested in knowing the kauna, then they need to talk to the hakumele. But today, it's kind of right out there. It's right up there in the front. Yes. And if you have any children around, explain to them that ho'oipoipo is a word that you're going to hear today, and it means to make love. And making love is not an X-rated kind of thing for Hawaiians. For Hawaiians, it is part of the process. It is part of, growing and procreation and keeping our, our lahui going, and just that all the beautiful things that go with it. And I am blushing as I speak, and I know that's hard to tell, but I thought all day, how am I going to talk about this mele, because it's a very hot mele. And we're going to get to that point when you actually hear the mele, and when you hear me go over there trying to explain it. But I chose it because I thought it's high time that we not only choose the ones about flowers and pretty forest and all of this, but we actually get down to what is so very Hawaiian to talk about, and that's making love and sharing aloha, and wherever it may be and whoever it may be with. And am I getting deeper and deeper? I think Akela should stop. But I know this mele is one of those kinds of mele, and it's because it's called pane mai, you get the idea that there's a call here for something. And those are the kinds of things that you want to think about as we're going through the mele. Listen to the words, listen to the patterns, because the patterns are very simple. And then when we're listening to our mele, I'll go on the other side and explain it to you. So, pehea makoko.
Makoko, but wish me luck.
You want to say anything else about the mele?
No, I thought you, as the kumu, you did very well.
You would think I give him a grade or something. Okay, makoko.
Okay,
Hikino, mahalo nui.
5, 6, 7. Uala oe kuipo, kahe ana au yaoe, I ka lipo lipo ka po. Ki punia ka ua me ke alo.
Ai, kae na he loa he mea ma'amau ke la no ku'uhoa me ku'umauhoa kalamai. Ai, so makaukou. And I bet you're all wondering, oh, come on, just hurry up, let's get to the mele, because we all want to know what that means. Ai, hikino. So our mele starts off with pane mai. Well, that's the title, pane mai. Okay, let's just look at our title, pane mai. Hikino. Pane mai, we see the direction is pulling it towards the person who's talking. So it says answer. And answer which way? Answer towards me. Okay, and our haku mele is uluvehi, ku'uhoa, me ku'umauhoa kalamai. So makaukou. And I bet you're all wondering, oh, come on, just hurry up, let's get to the mele, because we all want to know what that means. Hikino. So our mele starts off with pane mai. Well, that's the title, pane mai. Okay, let's just look at our title, pane mai. Hikino. Pane mai, we see the direction is pulling it towards the person who's talking. So it says answer. And answer which way? Answer towards me. Okay, and our haku mele is uluvehi kazimero. Okay, hard for me to call him Robert. That's not him to me. It's uluvehi. And if you remember, we've had this word before, uluvehi, like uluvehi vehi. Okay, hikino. Ua la oi e ku'uipo. We've had this before. No new words here, and it's real straight out. Ua la oi e ku'uipo. You what? You woke up. E ku'uipo. And this A here is, remember that A that calls someone's name? You woke up, my sweetheart. Yeah? Let's talk a little bit about that. All too often, I think people think the word is ku'uipo. I mean, it's like one word, ku'uipo. And what happens is you hear ku'uipo, and I tell someone, that means my sweetheart. And then I hear people go, oh yeah, ku'uipo, you know, and what happens is then you have my sweetheart, okay? So you have to be real careful that the word is really ipo, that's sweetheart, and ku'u is my, right? Ku'u is my anytime you have affection for something, yeah? And some of you will sit there and say, you know, Kumu, you said that 40,000 times, and I will say it 40,000 more, because I know that couple of you didn't catch it the first time, so, or the 48,000th time. But in any event, ku'u is my, when you have something, when you own something that you have affection for, you have aloha for. In this case, my sweetheart, ku'uipo. You wouldn't want to say ka'uipo, okay? So, ua ala oi e ku'uipo, you, just Allah, my sweetheart, my love, okay? Next slide. Ka hea nau ia oi. Ka hea nau ia oi. Okay, what we're looking at here is the pattern e action ana. But in mele, remember that in mele, you can leave out certain things because it's poetry. So you don't have to say e ka hea nau ia oi. You can just start with the action, and the ana takes us into a progressive kind of time, okay, so that it's not I called you or I call you, but I'm calling you, okay, I am calling you. Ka hea nau ia oi. And see the use of ia, the object marker? We don't use e over here. Why? Because we're using oi. Oi is a pronoun. Oi gets ia. Just like aloha vo ia oi. And you're going to see that too in this mele. Okay, so we've had ua ala oi e ku'uipo, ka hea nau ia oi. I ka lipo lipo o ka po. New word, lipo lipo. Lipo lipo refers to dark, kind of a blue-black. And that's an interesting, that's very interesting with Hawaiian. Colors are a little bit different. Yeah, we don't have straight up black, blue, green. Okay, we have depths of colors. Okay, so in the case of lipo lipo, it's a black, but it's a blue-black. And you know that black, that's the nighttime kind, that darkness kind of black, with not pitch black kind, but the kind where there's some kind of glow there and it's kind of blue-black. You get the idea, yeah? I know I'm trying to explain this to you, but really it's in the blue-black section of the color, okay? You know? So it's that in the blue-blackness, the darkness of the pole, of the night, okay? So now, interesting because you've woken up, my sweetheart. Ai wala oe e kuuipo, kahea nau ya oe. I'm calling you. Ika lipo lipo o kapo. Ika lipo lipo o kapo in the darkness of the night, okay? And remember that darkness, what kind it is, yeah? Because for Hawaiians, there's all different kinds, like uli uli. We've heard uli uli. Uli uli is more blue, okay? It's still dark, but it's bluer. And it can even be green sometimes, okay? So we have beautiful colors for Hawaiians, and I think that's because you look at the kinds of things that they have to give colors to, yeah, words for colors, like our mountain, our Kulāiwi, yeah, or our kai, the ocean. And those are the blues and the greens that our people knew. And so here we're hearing words like uli uli, and in this case, lipo lipo, okay? And if you ever heard of kumu lipo, yeah, the dark beginning, kumulipo, and that's the genealogy chant for Hawaiian people. Anyway, when you have a chance, you can check that out. Okay, I kalipo lipo kapo, and then it says panemai, panemai. Okay, very simple. This is a real simple song, and with so much meaning. I uala oe e kuuipo ho'opili mai. Let's try it together. Hikino. Uala oe e kuuipo, mai ka e, kahea nau ia oe, kahea nau ia oe. I ka lipo lipo o kapo, pane mai, hikino, mai ka e. And our next verse, going to the next verse, olu olu oe. Now olu olu could mean two things in this case, yeah? Olu olu could mean oh, kalamai, ho'omaha. You're all sitting there going, what are you talking about, Kumo? Well, I'm not an angel. Okay, I don't make everything right. God knows that. All right. So we're doing ho'omaha. Hikino, ho'omaha oe iku upoli. And it's a good thing somebody's on it out there. Ho'omaha oe iku upoli. And I think we've had this word before, ho'omaha, to rest, to relax. Okay? So rest where, and we've had poli before in two songs, and now we're going to see it again. Hawaiians love poli, okay? They love the word poli. Why? Because it's bringing you right where we like to hold someone, okay? In our bosom, okay? In our arms, in this area. And you want me to sing that song again, yeah? Rock my soul in the poli of Abraham, okay? If you cannot remember poli, then that should be one way you can remember poli, hikino. And your poli is right in here. So hard for me to have to always show you every time where poli is. But ho'omaha, come rest, ho'omaha oe I ku'u poli. And some of you may be asking, why would you say ku'u poli? You know, for Hawaiians, we love our body no matter what shape it's in, okay? Our kino is something very precious to us. And so remember I said that when you refer to something you own, that you have affection for, then you use ku'u. I could say ko'u poli, but oh no, this is ku'u poli, okay? Because this is something I really aloha. I wake up with it every day, okay? So here you say ho'omaha oe I ku'u poli. Hikino. Let's take a look again so you can try. Ho'omaha oe I ku'u poli. Honi yaku a honi mai. Ooh, there's something happening here, okay? Now, in the last song, when we did Paua Hula, we had the word honi, and in that case, honi meant smell. And I made a big deal about how honi, you know, is that in tradition, let me just take that slow, okay? In traditional times, honi was that time when you put your noses together and you smell the same air, you breathe the same air, and that was bringing you together. And then as time has gone on, honi has come to mean kiss, honi. But who knows which one this honi was supposed to be, this kind or that kind, okay? But in any event, you have two directions that it's going. Honi aku a honi mai, okay? And if you know the song Mahai Ula, you hear that in that song, honi aku a honi mai. Okay, so that's another mele that you might want to check out. Mahalo to Uncle Mahi Beamer for that mele. And sing, you know, not that Not that he wrote, but he sang it. And so if you have a chance to hear it, that's another time you can hear Honi aku a honi mai. Okay, so you can see how this honi is going back and forth. All right? Okay, we're getting there. Let's take a look. Honi aku a honi mai. Okay. Now the first line was Ho'omaha oi I ku'upoli. Now you say that. Ho'omaha oi I ku'upoli. Honi aku a honi mai. He aloha vau ya oi. He aloha vau ya oi. We saw this in another mele too. Another way of saying, I love you. Okay? And so this part's not too hard. Now, some of you may be asking, well, what's the difference between au and vau? No difference. They're the same thing. Okay? Au and vau. Just a difference in spelling. That's all. Okay? So that verse, let's go over it together. Ho'omaha oi I ku'upoli. Honi aku a honi mai. He aloha vau ia oi. And it ends again with pane mai, pane mai. Let's take a look. And there it is. Pane mai, pane mai. Now what you may be asking, some of you may be saying, if it's a command, if it's telling somebody to do something, shouldn't it have an A in front of it? E pane mai. Once again, there's Hawaiian that you write with grammar, and then there's Hawaiian that you write in poetry, and then there's Hawaiian that you use to olelo and vala'o with your friends. And not always do you put in all the A and the ana and the K and the ni and everything that I've taught you, and you're sitting there going, you mean I died trying to learn all this stuff and now you're telling me I don't need to use it? No, when you become really good, then you don't need to use it, okay? And after 36 lessons of Kulāiwi, you're 3/4 of your way there, okay? So this is the end of the first two verses. Let's look at the chorus, okay? The hui. We call it in Hawaiian hui, okay? Huli, huli, kokino. Hikino? Huli, huli, kokino. And you may be thinking about chicken at this point. It has nothing to do with that, okay? Huli meaning to turn. So huli, huli, kokino. Turn, turn what? Your body, yeah? So it's getting a little vela in here, okay? Now it's telling you to turn your body. Pume hana I kalai, okay? It's warm in the calm. Warm in the calm, okay? Yeah, this is not a rocky situation. This is not a real excitable situation. You can see it's calm. And just by the rhythm of the mele too, you can tell that this is a very nice moment, yeah? It's not one of those shaky, or perhaps it was, I don't know, you know, one of those thrilling experiences, okay? But here we use the word kalai, okay? The calm. So pume hana to be warm, I kalai, in the calm. Hikino? Okay, I'll give you time to say that again. Pume hana I kalai. Hikino? And next line, ki puni ia me ke aloha. Ki puni ia me ke aloha. And this is the passive that you're seeing here. Okay, we talked about this before, that it turns the subject of the, turns the object of the sentence into the subject. Okay, so that it says, you and I are wrapped with love, or surrounded with love. Okay, kipuni is to wrap around or to surround. Okay, and in this case it says, you and I are surrounded with love or wrapped up in love. Okay, what a beautiful song. Wouldn't you love to have somebody sing you this song? Yeah, it'd be so nice. Okay, on your anniversary or special occasion. No, it could be any occasion. Okay, ki puni ia me ke aloha. Try that. Ki puni ia me ke kalamai. Ki puni ia kaua me ke aloha. Ki puni ia kaua me ke aloha. Hikino? Okay. Pane mai, pane mai. Hikino. Okay. How much of that do you remember? Shall we start from the top? Or you got it? Okay, you got it. Let's go on to the next. Last verse. Olu olu oi e ku'uipo. And as I was about to say the last time, olu olu could mean two things. It could mean, please, my sweetheart. Olu olu oi e ku'uipo. But because of the next line, and maybe we can talk to Uluwehi about this after. But olu olu in my mana'o meant that you're comfortable, you're content, you're cool, okay? Olu olu oi e ku'uipo. Only because the next line talks about the exact opposite thing, okay? Because in this line it says, Olu olu oi e ku'uipo. You are cool, you are comfortable, you are, you're cool, and you're kind, and you're nice. Olu olu is such a wonderful word. It has all these wonderful mana'o to it, okay? Once again, you are olu olu, my sweetheart. Olu olu oi e ku'uipo. Next line, I keia ho'oipo ipo nei. Okay, so perhaps you are pleasing, my sweetheart, or you are cool, you are kind, you are pleasant, my sweetheart, in this lovemaking. Okay, in this lovemaking, and I keia ho'oipo ipo nei. Hanaho, I keia ho'oipo ipo nei. Hikino. And I think at this point, I'd like to say something in response to someone who had called in and said they were told that ho'oponopono, or words that reduplicate the word in the back of ho'o, are not really Hawaiian. I'm going to take this stance and be strong and say that that's not true, okay? That there are a lot of words like that that are reduplicated, and a lot of times when we see a word reduplicated, all that does is intensify the mana'o. So in this case, it's not just ho'oipo, but ho'oipo-ipo. Get the idea, okay? So even like ho'opono or ho'oponopono, okay, it intensifies the mana'o of pono in that case, or ipo in this case, ho'oipo-ipo. Hikino. We talked before about putting the prefix ho'o in front of a word, and what that does is cause the next part to happen. Okay, so in this case, you're seeing the causative in front of ipo, and it ends up meaning to make love. Okay. So you are pleasing, you are kind in this ho'oipo-ipo. Hikino. Now you may be asking, what is that nei in there? This nei puts us right there, okay? Nei is immediate. It keeps it's right here in this here lovemaking time, okay? Ikeia ho'oipo-ipo nei. Okay, so obviously this mele it seems like it's happening right at the time that the situation is happening, yeah? And of course, like Uluwehi said, it takes a long process to actually get it down. But as you're writing, it's like that situation is coming alive again. And a lot of times for haku mele, that's what's happening. As they haku, that situation is coming alive and being relived once more. And so you hear words like nei, almost as if you were right there when it was happening. Okay? So, olu olu oi e ku'uipo, I keia ho'oipo-ipo nei. Next slide. Ika vai vela vela nui. Ika vai vela vela nui. Now some of you are saying, going, wow, if I understand what all those words mean, something's really happening here. In the great hot water, okay? And so we could imagine what that might be, where it might be, okay? I don't know if you've ever been to Aotearoa and the hot springs in Aotearoa in New Zealand. Who knows? Maybe it was there. Maybe it was just, I'm not even going to try to figure out where this was, okay? But use your imagination, all right? And Kalamai, if all of you are sitting there watching with your keiki, it's your kuleana makua to explain to them that ho'oipo-ipo has its place, okay? In a Hawaiian's life, definitely. Ika vai vela vela nui. And that's why I said that olu olu to me meant that this person is cool in this lovemaking, because here this lovemaking is where? Ika vai vela vela nui, in this great hot water, okay? Pane mai, answer me, okay? So it's a great call for someone to answer, okay? The fact that this person woke up is at least halfway there, okay? So anyway, I'm going to give you an opportunity to sing along, okay, and practice along with us. And like I said, the words are not pa'akiki, they're not hard. So let's see how well you remember, okay? And if you don't, that's okay. You can look at the words on the screen. Okay, we hope. That's like, you can now say you sang with Robert Casimiro. Yeah, how's that? So wamai kai kalamai. I forgot the second time on the chorus, but that's a good test. You know what I said, every time Kumu makes a mistake, it becomes a test for you. Okay, if you got that chorus, huli huli ko kino I. Okay, mai kai. Hikino. Now we have a little surprise for you because I don't know if you ever saw our Nina Wele with Uluvehi the first time, and he did his alma mater from his elementary school, because we have decided that Fern School is the only elementary school with its own little alma mater in Hawaiian. And so because I thought it was special, and I thought, well, only Uluvehi has this mele for us, I thought we would share it with you. So let's take a look at He Mele no Fern School, okay? Hakumele, we don't know who this is, okay? So mahalo to the Hakumele, whoever you may be, because this is the neatest thing for an elementary school to have their own little alma mater. The first line says, Aloha no vau I ku'u Fern School. Okay, Aloha no vau I ku'u Fern School. And I really don't have to explain this, except maybe for this no in here. And all that no is called an emphatic. So it emphasizes that I indeed love ku'u Fern School. Once again, we see ku'u coming up. And you know, you're going to see in a lot of mele, we always tend to use ku'u instead of ko'u or ka'u. It just seems a little strange to do that. Ku'u home imi na'awau ho'i. Okay? This is not ku'u home, although that's what it means. Ku'u home imi na'awau, my home where I seek knowledge. Ku'u home imi na'awau ho'i. And this ho'i over here does not mean to return. Okay? It's another emphatic, just like no. Yeah, like when you hear, auwe no ho'i. Yeah? Or, you know, no ho'i. And ho'i in this case is an emphatic. It just emphasizes the fact that this is my home where I seek knowledge. He home nana I ho'o na'auau ia'u. Okay, now that's a long word. Let's try that together. Ho'o na'auau. Ho'o na'auau. And you hear this is different. Auau. Aole au au. Yeah. You know, I have to take this opportunity again to say something to all of you who are watching. We have, because I cannot hear you, and I have no idea what you're saying out there, I can only rely on the fact that you're really trying to ho'opili mai and mimic me, okay? So take the time to try to say this right, to hear yourself and get ma'a to your own voice, okay? Because you need to hear whether you're saying na'au-au or na'au-au or na'au-wow, okay? And that's the one you want. Ho'o na'au-wow. Maikai, okay? Hana ho, he home, nana, and you'll notice that this is nana, aole nana, okay, like to look kind. This one says a home which, okay, and actually this nana is a whole different kind of pattern, okay, and perhaps if you go on to Hawaiian language, because this is not something we ever talked about in Kulāiwi 1 through 24, but if you go on in Hawaiian language, you'll hear something called the actor emphatic, where it emphasizes the one who's doing the action. So in this case, a home which educates me, okay? Ho'o na'auau, remember na'auau is our key word, okay? That means knowledge. So ho'o na'auau, to cause knowledge to happen, okay? To educate, okay? He home ho'o na'auau, kalamai he home nana I ho'o na'auau ia'u, okay? Me. So I'll give you a little time to look at it, and then we can all go to Fern School's May Day program and sing with them, okay? All right, I'm Makoko. If you Makoko, Tumele ho'okahi manava, ikino. Okay. Oh, color my last line or poinavo. Okay. I ku'u, you know, this is not my alma mater, so obviously I left the last line out. I ku'u maula o pio pio. Hikino. In my what kind of days? In my o pio pio days, in my youthful days. Hikino, o pio pio. You may have heard the word o pio means young, but o pio pio means really young. Okay? Hikino, I ku'u maula o pio pio. One more time, take a look, and then you're going to get to sing along. Hikino, today is sing along with uluwehi. So let's take another look. I ku'u maula o pio pio. Hikino. Okay, so if you Makoko, then we're Makoko to start. Hikino.
Makoko.
Aloha no wau I ku'u Fern School Ku'u home I mina au hoi He home nanai Ho'ona au ia'u I ku'u maola o pio pio Hana ho Aloha no wau I ku'u Fern School Ku'u home I mina au hoi He home nanai Ho'ona au ia'u I ku'u maola o pio pio
Ay, mahalo ya oe kala mai ua ano, you know, but wa mai kai, ai wa mai kai. You know, a ole lo ana kapo e apa o ke kahi alma mater me ke la, so lucky no. Yeah, ke kula o kamehameha, kula o Lahaina Luna, a me ke kula poki o Fern. Ai.
I keia manawa pehea o na kapunana leo paha lo o ia lako. Yeah.
Ano loa, mahalo ya oe.
Oh my kai.
Oia I ke mea.
Oh my kai, see?
I'm going to say that in English so everybody can understand.
That's right.
I wrote the alma mater for Punana Leo Honolulu.
Really? Oh, I can't wait.
Well, it's no. Kala, you want to melee that one? Okay, with the bass. Heleo. Okay.
Heleo ike kula mai kai makapuna na leo
Kauai hao.
That's what they all play.
Yeah,
na mako na puale o Hawai'i makapuna na leo o Honolulu
Elohe mai.
Elohe mai Yamako Ina o lelo kupa o ka aina Elohe mai Yamako Ina keiki o ka puna na leo
Mai kaikela, lava, mahalo. But you know, that was my first attempt to try to hakumele, and it was very, very ma'alahi.
And
So maybe
I
one
think the
day,
lesson there is that if you can do it and if I can do it,
anyone can do it.
Anybody.
Because
So
you know, I'm just
pakako,
not
it's
a
just
mele
all-
kind of person. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I love to sing, but I'm not like hakumele kind of, you know, like a Kili'i Rachel or something. That's just not me. But I know it was real inspiring to have my hiapo begin Punana Leo o Honolulu, and it was like such a great time in my life, the mid-'80s, to make a decision like that, to send her and commit her to Hawaiian language school, you know, and then to see 10 years later, still making babies, and sending my next son to Punana Leo Kauai Ha'o, and to hear him sing it, you know, and that's kind of like, wow, that's real cool. But almost anything can be inspiring. So as I said over there, I was going to come over here and ask you, and I don't mean to put
Well,
you
and I
on the
really appreciate you
spot.
asking me to be here. Thank you so much.
All right, but I want to ask you about olu olu, that
Yes.
word. Did you mean please, or did you? This is just a little.
I meant it to be comfortable.
Comfortable.
Yeah, and also, actually, I had meant that to be a question. Olu olu oe e ku uipo. So too the first line. Ua ala oe e ku uala
Oh,
oe e ku
Kalamai,
ipo,
it was
like,
a question.
So are you
Did
awake?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
And so this person wasn't awake yet. Kalamai.
Perhaps not.
Could have been yeah, perhaps not. Could have been the fish in the tank, or you
No,
know.
the person was not awake
Yeah,
yet.
okay, you know.
It was a startling revelation. I don't know how to say that in Hawaiian. He me pu'iwa.
He mea startling law. Yeah.
Startling,
pu'iwa,
pu'iwa nui.
Yeah. You know, I have to share this real fast. I was getting lunch today, and when I was ordering, this little Portuguese lady in the back of me, and I don't know if she was part Hawaiian, but she really looked Portuguese. And you know, I didn't say Portuguese because I am Portuguese and you are Portuguese, and what, you're just Chinese.
I'm
It's
just
okay.
whatever.
I say Portuguese all the time.
And I say Portuguese all the time, but I offend people, so I try not to. But anyway,
Okay.
she was standing behind me, and she whispered in my ear, and she says, you know, Pepe au kuli ke ia kanaka. And I kind of, you know, backed up, and I said, did you say Pepe au kuli? And she said, I, Pepe au kuli ke ia kanaka. I said, oh, vai. She says, kela kane. And I was just like, wow, you know.
I tell you.
So then the lady, the cashier goes, ole,
Nah.
bala au vau. And I was just like, wow, you have to be careful now. You
I
know,
tell
you
you,
don't just
I
ole
tell
ole
you,
any
Bob.
kind of
Ole,
place
any place.
because
I feel like it.
they're going to catch you
And no matter
somewhere.
what they look like, I tell you.
That's
just-
right.
I tell you, I did
That's
the
right.
same. Well, I can't tell it on the air, but I did the same thing. Yeah, and you just have to malama.
Ah,
And
polo
akahele is what you
That's
have to do.
right, akahele. You be
Yeah.
careful because you don't know where they are and when they're
And
going
at
to.
the same time, I think that's so
It's
exciting.
wonderful.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
'Cause
To
it's
be
not
caught
just-
like that is cool.
It's not only
okay.
the kupuna, but I mean, it's the
Aye.
opio, and then
Aye.
it's just, you know,
Aye.
kako
Ka koapo, and that's why, you know, I think dreams come true.
Yeah.
And one of my biggest dreams is to have that day when you walk anywhere and anywhere up to a Hawaiian and just start to olelo. And that's my first dream. And my second dream would be to have everybody, regardless of koko, to speak Hawaiian.
Yeah.
But it really starts with us.
Yes,
You know, it's
it
our
does.
kuleana.
And that's why shows like this are so important.
Aye.
And people like you.
All right. Well, once again, mahalo to you. Before I start blushing again. And all of you, you just remember that mele ikawai vela vela nui. That's my
Yes.
favorite line.
And if you see me, don't ask me about it because I don't remember. It was so long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
just
yeah,
one of
right.
those things.
Yeah.
Just one of those things. Okay. Hiki no. Well, maki vai mahalo ya olua.
Mahalo ya
Na kia
ʻoe.
koe ho opo mai ka ia o kua pau. Nana noi ala ka ia kako I ke ala kupono. Nana e hoʻopiha I ko kākou puʻuwai me ke aloha a me ka mele aloha. No leila, mahalo I nā kahuwaiwai o Kamehameha Schools, Bishop Estate. Mahalo I o kua pau. Ahui ho aku. Aloha.